Hi everyone and welcome to Lift Your Life. My guest today is Jaspal Singh Sandhu, most commonly known as Injection from Shere Panjab. Jaspal's life's been quite well documented through documentaries, social media and interviews and so on and so forth. However, today we'll be focusing primarily on mental health, especially men's mental health. He's very kindly offered to discuss his battles that he's suffered with in the past with his mental health. So, Injection, thank you so much for joining me on the show and taking the time out to join me on the podcast. How you keeping?
Yeah, good, brother. Good.
Good. So before we go into mental health and primarily the reason why we're here, what I want to discuss is tell us a bit about your early life. What was Injection like as a kid?
Well, bro, as a young kid from as far as back as I can remember, I was always a very dominant character. Even from young days when I was in school, high school, everything, work. I was just always a very alpha male, and I think a lot of that was down to my upbringing. It was my dad. My dad was probably the most alpha male I'd ever come across. So being brought up in a family where, like, as soon as he comes home from work, it's just everyone's just quiet, and we'll just sit down, and the first thing we'd do is we'll take his socks off, because he's tired, he's come from work, we'll put his socks away, and then my mum would bring him his tea and all that, and then he would just rest for about 10-15 minutes, and then after she'll start getting ready, and it was like that every single day. So it was like he was a lion of the house, and he didn't speak much, but when he spoke, it was just like, that's it. And then I'd come from that as well. They say the apple never falls far from the tree, so seeing that, it sort of made me who I am. And unfortunately, the problem I had was where my dad and even my mum as well. My mum was, even though out of all her siblings, she was the eldest, and she was like an alpha as well. So having two alphas, as parents, it was difficult, and we never knew how to show emotions. So if there was an issue, we never spoke about it. We never got upset. We never got emotional. Nobody ever let a tear out in our house. It wasn't heard of, and it was different. It was different, and I think what had happened is, as I've grown older, I was exactly the same. I think, and then what happened with me is, when I hit a breaking point about 10 years ago, I didn't know what to do. And when you have so much energy and so much aggression inside you, it just comes out in two ways. It's either going to be where you're just going to start killing people. And don't get me wrong, I did have a lot of thoughts. I wanted to go out there and I wanted to just mass kill people, and thank God that didn't happen. And instead, I just I broke down. And when I broke down, it wasn't just someone just kind of in a corner or just wants to be left alone kind of thing. It was the energy that I had in me. Even now, I mean, I've always been like this. I have from what I've been told, I can't see myself, but I've always told that I have the energy around me is crazy, and I have my aura is quite strong. And so when I went down that route, it was crazy because it affected a lot of people around me. It was like a hurricane, and or even should I say a tornado. So wherever I went, it was just causing destruction because of the negativity, because of the stress I had, and I was a mess, bro. To be honest with you.
Is it fair to say that you just didn't have the skills coming up to deal with it?
I didn't know.
I didn't know. Yeah.
You see, if you've been dealing with it from a young age, you see it happening to people around you, in your family, and stuff like that, or your friends, and you see it happening, and you see them dealing with it, and it's the norm. You know how to deal with situations like that. But when you've never come across anything or anyone like that, then what happens is when you put in that situation, you don't know what to do, and I didn't know how to deal with it. My way was I just wanted to fucking kill everyone. I wanted to destroy everyone, and I knew I was physically capable of doing that. You understand? I didn't care about prison. I didn't care about like mentally hurting anyone or anything like that. It was just I physically wanted to just hurt people, you know, and I didn't care if I went to prison. I didn't care if I died. My thinking was I'm just gonna blast about fucking 50, 60 people. I'm just gonna kill everyone. I had a list. I was just gonna go down and I was just gonna take care of everyone that I had a problem with, yeah. And after that, I was just gonna fucking blow my head off. And you know, I had a lot of thoughts like that. And then I was having other thoughts. I was like, hold on, let me rob a bank. And let me do this, and let me rob these drug dealers, and let me do this, and I'm gonna get loads of money, and then I'm just gonna fucking go and kill everyone, and then at least I've got money there, which I can leave for my kids and my family. You know what I mean? Knowing that I was gonna go, so my thinking was very different. I was like a walking time bomb. You know, it was a ticking time bomb, and but like you said, I didn't know how to deal with it, bro. I didn't know how to deal with it.
What about like, so even before that 10 years ago, even before that, so if there was family members or people that have passed away in your life, how did you sort of deal with it then? Did you not just, I take it you didn't have that point where you had that grieving process, you sort of just kept that strength?
I never had that.
Yeah.
I never had anyone close to me passing away apart from my granddad.
Okay.
And that was in 2004. I remember that it was 2004 because it was about 3 months before my wedding. And I was always close to my granddad, but I think it did hit me quite bad. It hit me quite bad, and I think, come to think of it now, this is actually the first time I'm thinking about it, yeah? Come to think of it, the feelings, the thoughts I was getting in my head were very similar, but it was a very minute dose. So I didn't have thoughts about killing myself, but I wanted to hurt a lot of people. I'd walk down the street and I'd see people walking past me, and they just on the phone, and they just basically caked up in makeup, and they just, you know, in my eyes, I felt they weren't appreciating life. And I thought there's so much more to life. There's people out there that are dying, that haven't been given a second chance, and you guys have got a second chance, and you're taking a piss. And I wanted to kill these people, you know. And I guess thinking about it now, that was actually the beginning, and that was a small sample of what was to come. But I think with my granddad, the reason why I was upset so much was he was in India, and my parents, they done everything and anything they could to make sure he had a good life. I mean, this guy had a good life, yeah. And like, he had servants around him. You know, parents bought him a mansion, and you know, they made sure he was good.
Yeah.
And it was just weird because, like, when he passed away, I could just keep getting this picture in my head that he's lying on his deathbed, and he had about 3-4 days, I think it was, before he died. And my dad couldn't make it in time. So all I kept thinking in my head was, if it was me there. And I kept thinking to myself, he's sitting there in his bed, he's lying there in his bed, and he knows he's going to die. And all he's hoping for any minute now, around the corner, my kids are going to come. You know, and I want to see my kids before they go. Yeah. You know, so that really hurt me, you understand? And I kept thinking, like, I wanted to see my granddad, you know? But yeah.
I think when a grandparent, especially a granddad, passes away, my first tattoo I got is actually my granddad. I think it was around that same sort of time when he passed away. Around that same sort of time, I was really, really close with him, and he used to say to me, they used to call me Maru, as in I used to be really skinny and never get into any training or anything. And he said to my dad once, my dad's always been like a big power lifter as well, so we followed in his footsteps, and he always said, he goes, Maru's going to become world champion one day, right? And my dad looked at me, and I was there like asleep on the sofa, like just monged out because I didn't have no energy. And he was like, I don't know about that, and I done it, and you know, I fulfilled that. But I think somebody like that, somebody as powerful as that personality in your life that goes at an early age, I was only 15 at the time, it really does affect you.
You know why? You see, your dad, you look up to him, right?
Yeah.
But you know the person that made your dad is your granddad.
Yeah, of course.
The person that your dad used to look up to is your granddad.
Yeah.
And it's the same with my situation. I know that the reason my dad is the way he is because of my granddad. You understand? Yeah. My granddad was nuts. I'm telling you, this guy, till the day he died, he was about 80-something years old, yeah? and the guy used to still shave his legs, and he used to put tail on his legs every day, polish his legs, and like, yeah, you wouldn't see a white hair in his daddy, in his muchan. He'd have his muchan done proper, like, everything clean shaven, but just the black muchan, black hair, yeah. He looked after himself, you know, like the back in the days, the Balwan, they used to do that. They used to oil their legs every day, you know, so you take all the hair off and oil the legs every day, you know. And so he was hardcore, like he'd eat a chicken and he'd eat the bones as well. You know, so that's what that is that guy that made my dad who he is, and my dad is the one who's made me who I am. You know, and I just hope I can just see what I want to do is I want to be able to pass my my knowledge and the way I am, my thoughts, my views. I want to be able to pass that on to my kids, but I don't want to be how my dad was exactly, because I know my dad he was cold. You know, like me and my children. My youngest, she's like me. She's very cold. If I say to her, I love you, she'll just frown at me. She'll look at me in an angry way, or she'll just make a noise, like, you know, because she don't like that. You understand? And my eldest one, she's such a sweet voice. She'll say, I love you, Daddy, in such a nice way. But I want them to kind of realise that, look, it's not just about being hard and tough. You know, you can talk about it.
It's that blend, isn't it?
It's the blend. You've got to come to the middle. You've got to, you know, meet it halfway.
So, I'm going to go back to the point, which I'm sure it is going to be quite difficult to talk about, when your partner at the time passed away. I don't even know how to ask you what you went through, but like, because you've just told me now that you struggled, as in emotionally, to deal with things like that. So you've just sort of mentioned to me, you know, what you felt like doing, just felt like lashing out and so on and so forth. But there must have been times when you were on your own. What were the kind of thought process? Because you didn't have the, obviously now you do, but you didn't have the skill set to sort of deal with that kind of high emotional situation. There must have been times when you were on your own, where you would have just been you and your thoughts. What was that kind of process like?
See, the funniest thing is, bro, it weren't just when I was on my own.
Okay.
I'd be sitting in a group of people and I'd be zoned out. My friends will tell you that for the first few years I was like a robot, like a zombie. And I'd be sitting in a room, and whether I was on my own or not, it wouldn't make a difference. I'll still be sitting there and I'll be having some fucked up thoughts in my head, you know, some messed up thoughts. And, you know, I'd just be sitting there, and it could be a guy on the table, on the next table in front of me, and he could be just eating funny, or he could just look funny. You know, I'd have these visions in my head that I'm just going to rip his fucking, I'm just going to put my hands in his mouth and just open his fucking mouth open, you know what I mean? Rip his head open. And, you know, just fucked up thoughts. Like, I remember this one guy, and he was eating a mixed grill, I think it was, and I just wanted to fucking just stick the lamb chop in his neck, bro. You know what I mean? And just because I didn't like the way he was eating, bro. And
well, that's not your fault, because at the end of the day, that's mentally your head's gone, hasn't it? And
I just wanted to hurt people.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hurt people, and I wasn't in the right state of mind. Like I always was a very evil person before. Friends and myself, when we used to, like back in the days, I mean, everyone's aware, we used to kidnap people for a living, and our life was crime. You know, I mean, I don't think there was anything that we didn't do. We done everything from kidnappings, firearms, so people associated with me, drugs, you name it, everything. Like, every single criminal you could possibly think of came under one umbrella, and that was us lot. And so, you know, if I couldn't do something, my friend around the corner would be able to do it, and if he didn't, the other guy would be able to do it. We all had links everywhere. And I think that's what made us dangerous. We were probably one of the biggest criminal organisations, the Panjabi Indian organisations in the UK ever. I remember back in the days it was the Tootinans and the Holy Smokes. You know, they were big. But I think how we sort of took it, considering the way things were at the time, like with the law becoming so strict, cameras everywhere. You know, back in the days it was a lot easier to commit a crime and get away with it. And
Yeah, different ball game.
It's a different ball game now. And for us to get away with the shit that we did, considering the way how strict the law is now, I think we've done quite a good job. But I think if we were around maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago,
there would have been no CCTV, would there?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, we've had this conversation with my friends, yeah. Like you got hats off to the Crays and all that, and the Richardsons and all that, and Rileys, hats off to them. They've done well. But I think if we were around at that time, I think you'd be seeing movies about us lot. You know what I mean? Definitely. Hold on. Let me just 1 second. Just gonna put my phone on silent. 1 second. Yeah.
So you had that life, basically the life of sort of crime and so on and so forth. What was the changing point where you decided to basically change, move away from that?
Well, to be honest with you, it was the death of my late partner. I'll be honest with you, I could sit here and make shitloads of stories up.
Yeah.
I had my first daughter then, and and I think to myself, in the beginning when I had my first daughter, I would have thought that would have changed me. My second daughter was born; it didn't change me. You'd think having girls, it changes a person, and it does. Don't get me wrong.
It does. I've got 2 girls myself. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
You start seeing things in a different way.
Yeah.
You wouldn't if you had 2 boys.
Yeah.
It's very different if you had 2 girls. You know, your thinking changes. But that did change. But me as the person that I wasn't going to change, and I think what did is obviously her death. And I think the reason why that was because I'd originally made a promise to her that I was going to change.
Yeah.
So I felt like where she passed away, I didn't want it to be where she's passed away and she's thinking to herself up there, listen, my life's gone, I'm not here anymore, and you're still carrying on with your bullshit. So I wanted to kind of, I wanted to show her and prove to her that, look, I have changed, and your passing wasn't a waste. I've changed for the best. And, she used to say one thing to me in particular, and it's still stuck in my head. She used to say, look, Jazz, everybody knows what you're capable of. Everybody knows who you are and what you can do. She goes, you know what you're capable of. You know who you are and what you can do, yeah? She goes, you don't need to go around proving it to the people, to the public. You don't need to do that. Like, you always... And I wanted people to know that, listen... Like, I'm your fucking dad. You know what I mean? You can't fuck with me. And, people needed to be put in their place, and I wanted to do that. Like, we used to move to people, like, I got anywhere, and if I felt there was someone there who thought he was a bad man, I'd put him in his place, because I wanted him to know, no, mate, I'm a fucking bad man. You're just a pussy. And, but that comment, even though when she'd originally said it, it didn't stick in my head. But after she passed away, it kept going over and over and over in my head. And I kept thinking, you know what? I don't need to prove to anyone. I know what I'm doing. Like, even if I did become, like, not so crazy, and if I become a bit soft, yeah, and I stop doing the things that I did, it don't make me a pussy. You can tame a lion, a jungle lion, a wild lion. You can tame him as much as you want. And you know what? You probably can stop him from attacking a random person. You understand? You can do that, but he's still got that capability of taking someone's arm off, or taking someone's head off. It's
a mindset.
It's in his blood. He's still got that capability of doing that. You understand? So even though I knew that I changed my ways, I knew that physically, inside, deep down, I was still capable of doing that. So mentally, in my head, I would always tell myself, "No, it's cool, bro. You're not a fucking pussy. If you let this go and don't let it get to you, like if something was to have happened." And I was to have let that go, and it don't make me an idiot. Do you understand? Because I've let it go. Because deep down inside my head, I know that I can still deal with it. So I think that helped me get over it. But that was the main reason for my change, bro.
And is that when you then started following like the Sikhi path as well?
Bro, I was always...
as in,
Yeah, with the style and everything. So what it is I was always... I had a lot of knowledge about Sikhi from day one. I was always interested in Sikhi. Whether I practiced it or not is a different story. I always had meat You know, I drank and everything, and so I wasn't really. I never hardly ever went to the Gurdwara. I done my thing, but I had a lot of knowledge about Sikhi, and even when I went down this route, it wasn't because I suddenly thought, you know what, I am religious and I need to turn down this route. To be honest with you, I don't go to the Gurdwara anymore. I don't do any more prayers than I used to before. Everything's still the same. I just woke up one morning and I just thought to myself, what are you doing, mate? Like, look at yourself. I looked in the mirror and I still remember this, and I say this to in a few of my documentaries in the past, that I still remember when I was brushing my teeth that day. I think it was the 11th or 12th of December it was, and I was brushing my teeth, woke up, and I looked in the mirror and I just saw myself, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck? Like, you're a mess, an absolute mess. You know what I mean? Like, look at you, you're a fucking lion, and look at you. I looked at myself and I was like, I look fucked, bro. Like, mentally, you know, like people, like, you see, when someone's on steroids, yeah. They take steroids, and they say even though once you come off the steroids, even though you haven't shrunk in size straight away, it takes a few weeks or even months for size to go down. But literally the next day when you come off it, mentally, the person, when he looks in the mirror, he thinks he shrunk.
Fucking hell.
Because it's a mental state. You understand? So even though I still looked normal, I still looked fine, but mentally, I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, I look fucked. I'm fucked. I'm a state. And I'm like, I need to man up. I need to be who I am, and I'm supposed to be a lion. And in my eyes, in my vision, a lion is always meant to be like someone, like a Singh, basically. You understand? A Singh to me is someone. He's someone that's proud. You know, someone that walks down the street with his head up high, and you just can't fuck with him. And I've always felt that inside me from day one, that I have got that. But the only thing that was missing was the physical form. So, and I think I'm not gonna lie to you. Women were a big part. Yeah. You know, I'd always groom myself because I'd always be like, you know what, you know, for the women. But I'd come to that point where I was like, I can't be asked anymore, man. I really can't be asked for it, you know. And so I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. But then to make sure that I don't go back on my word, I put it out there in public, because I didn't want to be tomorrow that guy where everyone says, oh, he's done it for a month, or he's done it for 2 months, or he's done it for a year, and then he just cut his hair again. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't want to be that guy. And so with me, my word is a lot, and it makes, to me, if I'm gonna have a negative impact on someone, it's a big thing for me. So I want to try and change people's lives. I want to try, if there is someone out there that looks up to me and he sees that, hold on, this guy he's doing some fucked up shit, they're gonna try and follow in those same footsteps. You understand what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a daddy, yeah. And if I want to drink sharab, I can drink sharab. I don't drink sharab, yeah. I try to stay away from that. But you'll never see me posting up pictures of me eating meat. I go to restaurants and, you know, there'll be pictures of food and stuff, my mate's eating it. You know, there'll be vegetarian dish in front of me or something, you know, but you'll never see me munching away, eating, you know, because I don't want it to be where tomorrow people that are looking up to me are saying, well, hold on, he's doing it, so we're going to do it. Because I'm not saying it's okay for someone to be a Singh and eat meat, yeah? Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. But I try not to kind of push any negativity out in the public where people are thinking, well, hold on, he's doing it, we can do it. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So I guess to me, I want to try and change as many lives as possible. And if I'm trying to do something good, then why not?
That is the main reason why I reached out to you and asked you to come on the podcast, and that's why I've got so much respect. At the end of the day, I've only just started out with this. I told you my story, and I sort of said, like, look, this is what I'm planning on doing, and so on and so forth, because of the impact that you have on people out there. Going on to the impact that you have, and going more into detail about what's going on in our community at the minute, with regards to, we don't need to mention names, but there's, all over social media, there's recently people have, you know, committed suicide. Young lads in our community have just had enough and, you know, commit suicide and so on and so forth, which is a very sad state of affairs. So what I want to ask you is what was your healing process then? So once you started moving forward, what was your healing process? I know one of them was, and especially it was the same for me, is the gym. But what else was there? What was your sort of healing process?
It's hard to explain this one now, bro, because there's so many things that played a role in this. I mean, nobody will stop having these thoughts. Thoughts will still come. I'll talk about one that I had the other day, but it's how you deal with them that counts. Like, I was the other day, I think it was about last week, I think it was, and I was doing the Hoover last week, and I was doing the Hoover, and I still remember I spoke about this on my Instagram. Yeah, I was doing the Hoover, and I was in the passageway, and just randomly, nothing bad had happened. Yeah, randomly while I'm doing the Hoover, I'm thinking in my head, why am I doing this Hoover for? Like, why am I? I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? I don't need to do this. I don't need to work. I don't need to make money just so I can live and so I can put clothes on my... And I'm paying the bills and I'm doing all of this for what? For this fucking poxy government. I'm not, what am I doing? I don't need to be here. I can just end it all. I could be gone. I could be dead. And I could be like, fuck you lot all, you know what I mean? And I had that thought while I'm doing the Hoover. And then literally straight away I'm like, nah, I can't, man. Because if I tomorrow win, who's going to look after my little ones? You know, who's going to look after the people in my circle, my loved ones? Who's going to be there for them? What's going to happen to them? Because I know what happened to me when Sugar passed away. So what would have happened to my people that are in my circle? You understand? Like, my parents, who's going to look after my parents? Like, friends will say, bro, we're here, we got you, and like, yeah, but it's different. It's different. You understand what I'm saying? And like, who's going to do all that? You know, and like, little things start coming into my head, like tomorrow, like paying for the internet or paying for the car insurance and paying for the water bills and this and that. Everything's online now. My parents wouldn't be able to do that.
True.
You understand what I'm saying? So that generation there that didn't know much English, they'd struggle. So that is the only one thing that stopped me. It just came into my head and I thought, you know what, I could be gone tomorrow, it's not a problem. But let's not be selfish. Yeah? Let's not be selfish and let's not think about me. And let's try and think about everyone else in my circle and what effect I'd have on them. So that thought, when it lasted about a second, 2 seconds, and but you can imagine in it when it comes to your head, that 1 second, it's 100 thoughts.
Did it play? It must have played in your head all day.
No.
That was it.
Just that. It was just in and out, done. So it came in my head, and literally straight away it was out. But what I'm trying to say is, the point I'm trying to make is that there's no 100% healing.
No, there isn't. No, of course
not. You understand?
Yeah.
You all still always have these thoughts. It's how you deal with them that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, it's your coping mechanism.
You understand? Like the gentleman, we were not going to mention any names, the gentleman you're talking about the other day, that last time he took his own life and he was on social media, right? Yes, he done it. He probably didn't have any problems. Maybe he just had enough and thought, you know what, fuck this, I can't be dealing with it. But then he could have, if he was that type of person who had a lot of responsibilities and he knew there was a lot of people depending on him. Maybe he didn't have anyone depending on him. But if he did have a lot of people depending on him, maybe the story would be different.
True.
Because he would think to himself that, hold on, if I do this, what's going to happen to them? You understand? And I think a lot of people, if they ever do come to that point in their life where they do feel that they need to end it all, I know what it's like, you know. You could have a million things going for you. You could be a millionaire. You could have everything you could possibly ask for. But it's not enough. And when you are having those thoughts and you need to go, those million things that you got going for you, they become nothing. They become zero.
Yeah.
You understand? You can't even think about them. They're not even coming into your head. They're not even coming in there to say to you, bro, you got us. Don't worry about it. They just go. So you have to mentally train your mind to bring those things out. Yeah? Bring them out of that Pandora's box that you've got hidden away with a key locked up, thrown away. You've got to bring it out and you've got to remind yourself that, listen, mate, I have got all of this. I've got all of this to lose. Do you understand? If I go, what's going to happen to all these people around me? Okay, yes, I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to go. I'm going to be gone. See you later. But how are these people around me, my family members, my siblings, my children, how are they going to survive without me? What kind of impact will I have every single birthday, every single Christmas, every single Father's Day or whatever? They're gonna feel it. You understand? So I think people need to start being less selfish. I think is what the word I'm looking for. Be less selfish and start. If you think to yourself your life is shit and it's worthless, then I tell you what, accept that. But at the same time, accept, you know what? My life is shit, but I'm not here for my life. I'm here for these people. Let me try and be good for them. Let me sacrifice my life for being good for them, yeah? Fuck, my life is shit anyway. My life's fucked, yeah? But let it be good for them. Don't be selfish and say, oh, my life's fucked. Oh, fuck it. I'm not going to go. You understand? These people need to start considering other people's feelings as well.
Let me get your thoughts on this. I spoke to someone. We were at a funeral. Chap had passed away. He had cancer, early age, passed away. And there's another lad that I used to go to school with. He passed away. And got talking, saying, look, I went to a funeral. He's in his early 30s and, you know, he took his own life and so on and so forth. And I was speaking to an uncle there. And he goes to me, he goes, Bally, right? And I thought, here we go. It's going to be that whole, you know, ego thing, you know, guys were a bit macho then, they never used to say anything, blah, 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 blah.
But it's true.
But he didn't go down that route. That's what I was expecting. He goes, back in the day, everyone was basically doing the same thing. Everyone was working at the same factory, everyone was earning the same money.
Yeah, it was a routine.
It was a routine, everyone was earning the same money, and because everyone was in that same situation, nobody was over rich or anything like that. Everyone's doing what they're doing. Any issues they had, they would just talk it between themselves, between 10, 15, 20 of them or whatever, and before you know it, whatever the issue is, it's resolved. Nowadays, it's different because I think that whole ego thing that's there with regards to, you know, I can't talk about my issues because such and such is going to think, oh, fucking hell, he's got issues and he's going to go and tell such and such. There's that support network doesn't seem to be there.
Not just that, but back in the days, work was their social life.
Yeah.
They will spend 2/3 of their time, their day, at work.
Yeah.
So when they would go to work, that was their friends.
Yeah.
Going to work, that was their friends. That was their work. That was everything. Do you understand? That's their friends. Everybody back in the days, their friends were their work colleagues. They never had friends that were outside, or maybe they had rested out, gone to that. Yeah, but everyone was connected at their workplace. Their workplace, when they were working in the bakeries and when they were working in foundries and they were working in all these factories, the people that were there were their mates. You understand? So everything was resolved, like you said, there and then. Over here nowadays, how things are is work is work. That's not their social life anymore. Soon as they leave work, then their life starts once they've left. Soon as they've checked out or clocked out or whatever, and they've left at 5 o'clock, yeah, then their life starts. Back in the days, it weren't like that. Their life was at work. When they finished, it was like going home and resting and relaxing, spending time with family. Nowadays, it's different. Nowadays, as soon as you finished work, you're out and about. And I'm the same. Don't get me wrong. So by the time I'll get up in the morning, about 6 o'clock, I'll get up. I'll leave, go to work, come back. By the time I'm home, it's about 6, 7 o'clock. Go gym, do my bits and bobs. I'm running around constantly. By the time I get home, it's about 11:30 every day. You know, every single day. And by the time I'm home, I've got to prep my food for the next day. You know, get my clothes ready for the next day. Go to sleep, shower up, or whatever. Go to sleep, and it's the same thing every day. So my life don't just stop at when I finish work. Soon as I've finished, there's about 20, 30 different things that I'm dealing with every single day afterwards. You understand? And that's how it is with everyone else. There's so much going on. There's so much madness. It's like, especially in London and all these busy cities everywhere, everything's just fast, fast, fast. And people are now moving to Canada, they're moving to America, they're moving to Australia. They're moving to these places where it's a lot more just chilled and a lot more relaxed because everything over here is just fast. You know what I mean? People that come from Canada or all these other places where it's a lot more chilled, Midlands, where they come here, they find it hard to blend in because everything is just so bang, 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 so fast.
It's like India, when people come from India.
Yeah.
I have relatives come from India and they're just taken back by it because, you know, the lifestyle, especially in the bend and stuff like that, it's
chilled.
It's chilled. But like here it is, you're right, it's just fucking...
It's non-stop.
It's non-stop. It's non-stop.
Mm.
So you do a lot of stuff, and you, again, like I said, you openly talk about mental health and so on and so forth. The other thing that I did see that you were doing, which is really great, around training videos and stuff. And I think that's a very, very positive message to push out because I don't think, like you said, everything's so busy. Things like the gym and things like training and looking after yourself, that's going out the window because people are just wanting to go out, fucking, if I'm being totally honest, go out, drink and fucking do a line of fucking Charlie, and you know, that's the lifestyle.
Yeah, they look forward to the weekend.
Yeah. So you know, you doing what you're doing there, that's amazing. That's really, really good stuff. So, do you think more people should be going out and being more active, or what do you think the problem is? And do you think it's a case that the community should be doing more to protect, effectively protect a lot of these lads?
Definitely, protecting wise, yes, the community needs to be doing more. When it comes to going out, see, that's a double-edged sword. Going out, if you're in the right crowd, is good. But nowadays, going out, it's youngsters start going out, and the route they're taking is of this kind of gangster rap shit. Yeah, where they've got their trousers hanging around their ankles, you know, and they're walking around thinking like they're Tupac's fucking children, yeah. And back in the days, it was about physically what you're capable of doing as an individual. It don't work like that anymore. Nowadays, you could be the biggest pussy in that crew, yeah. But if you got a crew with you of about maybe 10, 15, 20 people, whatever, yeah, and they all got blades and you all carry blades, that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, back in the days, it was like, if you couldn't match up to being a man, they wouldn't bother. So all the wastemans would just stay wastemans and they would just get on with their shit, yeah. And then you had people like myself who drifted away from education because it weren't for me, and I ended up going down the other path, yeah. And then you did have people that tried to be bad boys, but they weren't up for it. You understand? They couldn't meet the standards, so they had no other choice to go back to their education, and it was a good thing because it's made them into something now. You understand? But nowadays, it don't work like that because those people that are trying to become bad boys, where back in the days they would have gone back to their education, nowadays these people, they just start hanging around in groups. And when they hang around in groups, I mean, they're like this, bro. They're like this. You understand? They're little junkies and that, yeah?
Yeah.
And they hang around these crews and they all got blades on them and they think they're bad. And to them, that's their life because they think, you know what, like this is who we are. But what they don't realise is when they hit that age and they need to get married, they need to settle down and they're going to have kids, that crew's not going to be there anymore.
Of course not. Yeah.
You understand? The only person that's still going to be there is them. Them as an individual. So if them as an individual, they're nothing and they're fucking pussies on their own, then once those boys are gone, the real true person is going to come out. The truth is going to come out, and them as a waste man on his Jack Jones who's capable of doing nothing, yeah, he's going to come out and then they're going to look back and think, you know what, we've wasted 15, 20 years of our lives, yeah, where we could have gone, we could have studied it, we could have done this and we could have done that. We've wasted it hanging around in these groups, in these crews. For what? I've got no education, I've got no nothing. You know what I mean? They're going to look back and they're going to look at that and they're going to think, fuck, we could have done something with our lives. But it's, you know what, it's like banging your head against a brick wall, bro. No one's going to listen. You know, my dad used to tell me when I was young that what I was doing was wrong. And I always felt that I knew better. And I was like, cool, Dad, don't worry, man.
You always do at that age, yeah.
Because you think to yourself, like, Dad, like, you're old. Things were different, like, when you were young, yeah? And things are different now when we are young. But when you hit that age, you think, fuck, man, he was right. Because even though times are changing, but the way you deal with your own situations are still going to be the same.
Of course.
You understand? And you need to prioritize yourself, and that's the way forward. You know, you need to work on your own mental health. And to be honest with you, bro, gym done it for me, man.
Yeah.
Gym has been a lifesaver from day one. Like the other day, I went into the gym. I was talking to one of the personal instructors, the fitness instructors, and I was telling him about it. And because one of the guys, there was a guy there with him, and he was asking how long I've been training for. And I said to him, I've been training for 26 years. I've been training since I was 14, yeah? And he goes, were you thin, fat? I was quite chubby. But what happens is, when you've been training for so long, it becomes a way of living.
Yeah.
So you wake up in the morning, you comb your hair, you brush your teeth, you go to the toilet. That's normal. It's the norm, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave the house without brushing your teeth, would you?
No.
So what happens is, even though you might wake up in the morning, you feel like shit. Now, there's been times where you've woken up in the morning and you're ill, right? Would you still brush your teeth even though you're ill?
Yeah, of course you would.
You would, innit?
Yeah.
Because it's a way of living. You
Yeah.
have to do it. So there'll be times where you go to the gym and you think, fuck, man, I can't be dealing with this. Like it was last week, I went to the gym, it was Thursday. I went to the gym and I'm doing my stretches on the bar. And I'm looking up. I'm like, fuck this shit. I can't be arsed. And I shouted it out loud. I can't be arsed with this fucking shit, yeah? And it was just, I just had to do it. Get it out of the way. You know what I mean? And like Wednesdays and the weekends are my break. It's my time off. And people say, don't you train on the weekends? I'm like, nah, mate. I only train 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I can't train 4 days because to me, training is a fucking chore. I can't do 4 days a week. I can't do 5 days. I can't do 6. I can't do 7. I'm doing 3 days a week, and the rest of the 4 days I'm chilling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so people need to understand that they need to get themselves down the gym, even though they don't want to. Like I used to go to the gym back in the days when all that madness and that happened with me, and I'd be sitting there and I'd be fucking bench pressing on the machine. It was a stand-up machine, I still remember, and the mirror would be in front of me, yeah? And I'd be bench pressing and I'd start crying randomly. And I'd look in the mirror and I'd be covered, just tears coming out, yeah? But there would be nothing that would trigger it. It wouldn't be like any particular thoughts or anything. I'd just be like, fuck. I just feel like shit.
Yeah.
My life's shit.
Yeah.
Everything is just shit. Everything was just shit, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you have that grey cloud on your head and you're feeling negative, everything is going to be negative. But I still carried on training. I still kept pushing. I do my training, even though like a normal 45-minute session would end up being a 3-hour session because I do a lot of thinking in between. I'd just be sitting there and I'd be zoned out, you know, and then I'd do my next set and I still do it. And I've done it, you know what I mean? And I think one thing that made a difference is like in my own head, when I would look in the mirror and I thought, you know what, I don't have much going for me. And I still do sometimes. I think I'm not maybe appealing to the opposite sex. I'm not kind of like super rich. I'm not super smart. The only thing I've got is my strength and my body. So I look into the mirror and I look at myself and I think to myself, I've earned this. This is my work. This is something that I have achieved over a long time. And don't get me wrong, the last 1 year has been quite bad when it comes to the gym and all that. I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost quite a fair bit. And something that I wanted to talk about while I'm here. We're talking about obviously negative thoughts, negative feelings. Yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys know on a little secret. So since last year, I was given some bad news. Yeah, I was given some bad news, which I took the wrong way originally. I was under the impression I was told that I could have cancer. Yeah, and my GP had gone over it, but he kept saying to me, like, no, you've got nothing to worry about, everything's okay. But we need to get these tests done because we need to eliminate it. So as I started doing more and more research into it, I started looking at all the symptoms and everything, and I thought, shit, I could have cancer, yeah? And So I'm not gonna lie to you, it stressed me out. It stressed me out a lot. My family didn't know. Well, they do now. They didn't know. Nobody knew, and apart from maybe like a couple of people, and so I was dealing with that. To be honest with you, I think I was more upset about not being able to see my kids grow up. Yeah, I was more stressed about that. I thought I'm not going to be able to see my kids grow up. I'm not going to be able to influence them in any way. I won't be able to contribute in any way. I'll be gone, and I'll just be watching from above. And then halfway through that thought of the cancer had gone, they started saying, nope, it doesn't seem like cancer. The chances of it being cancer are quite slim. Instead, they come up with some next Bally, yeah? I don't even know the name of it, but apparently 50% of these people that have this, they die before the age of 40. So I'm putting two and two together, so I'm thinking, hold on, all these symptoms, everything started about 10 years ago. I'm now hitting 40 and my body feels like it's shutting down, yeah? 2 years ago, I felt the best I could possibly feel. I felt on point, yeah? But last year was just, it was just downhill. And just constant problems in and out of hospital. I ended up with E. coli even. That's another story we'll cover in a minute. But yeah, so then I got my test done last week. Everything come up negative. Good. So they said I'm in the all clear. And that was quite some good news for me. And so I started thinking, yes, I'm going to get back into the training. I'm going to get back into the gym. I'm fucking apeshit. And I give myself a goal. I thought, by summertime, I want to physically look like this now. Yeah. You know, I've started taking all the supplements. You know, I've started taking the growth again. I've started doing a lot of stuff. And, you know, physically, I'm ready for it, you know. But last year, it was a struggle. And I was saying before, I ended up with E. coli. One of the restaurants in Southall, I'm not going to mention their name, one of the restaurants in Southall, I ended up getting food from there, and within hours I got ill. And I just remember 6 o'clock in the morning, waking up to go to the toilet. I just felt like I needed to go, and vomiting, diarrhea, everything at the same time, and it wouldn't stop. It did not stop, and I'm just thinking, shit, I've got to take one of the workers. I've got to drop him off to work. So I've picked him up. A couple of them, I've dropped him off. On the way there, the whole time, I'm holding the steering wheel, and I'm like holding the steering wheel like this. I'm leaning across it. I'm driving like this, yeah. And I'm just in pain, just in bad pain, yeah. And as soon as I've dropped them off, it was about an hour's drive. As soon as I've dropped them off, they've gone out. I've got the carry bag. I've just vomited and vomited. It wouldn't stop, non-stop, yeah. Ringing up the ambulance. Ambulance started ringing them up about 9 o'clock. They've turned up at 11, yeah. And then when they've turned up, all I remember is one of the times prior to that, because obviously there was so much vomiting. There was, when I kept getting out of the van, there was like a wall there with loads of bushes and stuff. So I was just leaning over, and it was raining. It was raining quite bad, and I just remember just dropping on the floor, and I blacked out. And then I woke up, and my face is just in the water and that, in the puddle. And I just got up, and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? You know, I've got back up. It was so bad, like the diarrhea was non-stop. So you can imagine, I'm in a van. I couldn't go outside and shit in the thing, yeah. So I'd literally jumped in the back of the van, and I'm just, I'll be honest with you, I was sitting on a bucket, yeah, and it was just non-stop. Like you can imagine this, yeah. I'm vomiting, sitting in a bucket. It was non-stop. And then ambulance ended up coming. I don't remember much. All I remember is that somebody brought them to the side, and I've opened the door. I don't even remember walking into the ambulance. I remember bits of it in between in the ambulance. I remember getting out, and I remember getting to the hospital for about 1 o'clock, and then I had to go at the doctor, because all I kept thinking was like when Sook passed away, it took them 2.5 hours to take her to the hospital, yeah. And now it's taking you fucking 2 hours to get me to hospital, where the hospital's 7 minutes away. So I go to myself, bro, what the fuck are you lot taking a piss out of me, yeah? I said, I called the ambulance at 9, came at 11, and I said, now you lot brought me to the hospital at 1 o'clock. And he goes to me, he goes, Mr. Sandhu, he goes, I believe you're not really aware of what's been going on. I said, what do you mean? He goes, you died. He goes, in the ambulance. He goes, when they were bringing you here. I said, well, on the way here. He goes, no, as soon as they went in the ambulance, he goes, within minutes, he goes, your heart stopped beating. And he goes, they had to revive you. And apparently the only person that was qualified to stay with me the whole time until I was stable was the driver. So hence why they couldn't drive off, because the other person wasn't qualified to drive off, yeah? So that person, the driver, had to stay with me, and then they stayed until I was stable and everything was all fine. They brought me back to life, and then they took me to the hospital. And I was just, it was just a bit of a shitty, it was a bit of a shitty situation, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't feel to myself, oh shit, I was at death's doors and back. To me, I just woke up and it was just a normal day. Like, I was feeling a bit shitty, you know, just non-stop diarrhea. I felt like I'd just been to hospital and I was fucked. But it didn't have that much of an effect on my head. So I think even now, I think it's probably benefited me, because I think to myself, for tomorrow, if tomorrow my time did come, I wouldn't even know about it. You understand what I'm saying?
You've been through it.
I've been through it. I didn't even know then, and it was just a normal day. So you know, it is what it is, and I've been shot and all that before, and you know, I've been stabbed, and so to be honest with you, even those, like, every time when it happened, I didn't think to myself, oh shit, I'm dying. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is just the way it is. You just got to kind of deal with it. I think that's the last thing that comes in your mind. But look, the last year, it was so bad, and I kept telling myself that I'm going to fight this. So I think knowing that I was that close to death's doors made me appreciate it a lot more. Where before, you don't appreciate it, you keep thinking, oh, I'm going to go. I'm going to take my life, I'm going to go. But then when you come to that point where you actually are going to go, you're thinking, fuck, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to go yet, you know? Like, what's going to happen with my kids, and what's going to happen with my family, and like, are people going to fucking remember my good work? Like, I got so much shit to do, you know, and I had a list of people that I was supposed to help still, you know. One woman, the old lady, she had some issues with a neighbour, and another guy that had issues with his son-in-law. There were so many issues. I remember looking at the list and I'm thinking, fuck, like, do I just pass this list on to someone else? But are they going to do it in the same way as I do it? You know what I mean? And like, there's a lot of things that go into your head, but I think knowing that I was that close to death's doors, it changed a lot. And I'll be honest with you, bro, I'm going to try my fucking best to be here for a long time. And while I'm here, I'm going to make a lot of people's lives hell. I'll tell you straight, bro. I'm gonna fuck a lot of people up. Any person that is a wrong one is gonna get dealt with. So yeah, my time's up. It's up. But until then, I'm gonna keep doing my shit.
Listen, I think this is probably the best time to bring it to a close. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And you know what? I wish you all the best for your training. I know what it's like when you can't train and stuff like that properly. I'm sure you're gonna fucking smash it with the training and stuff. You go there, you do what you got to do. And once again, Injection, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, my brother. And hope to speak to you soon. Cheers, take care.